What exactly is the mission that you're on in this season of your life? Like, what are you doing and who are you doing it for?
So obviously you do it for yourself, but really I think that I've been armed with tools and knowledge over the years, my 30-year career, that I kind of have a decent sense of where the world is going, where the opportunities lie and where the risk lies for people. And I can see the problems people are facing, and I think I've got answers. So what I want to do is help as many people as possible in that journey. And why that happened to me was I was in Spain back in 2012 and also during the financial crisis 2008. And I was writing macroeconomic research for my research service, Global Macro Investor, and I had seen it coming. I predicted it. I knew it was coming. I knew the problems. I warned all of my friends. Nobody listened. Nobody understood about the financial crisis, what was going to happen. And most of them, because I was living in a beach town in Spain, they were in real estate. They all went bust. But worse than that was that when we got to the European crisis, when basically the governments of Europe ran out of money, the banks also ran out of money. And as opposed to being bailed out, they got what known as bailed in, which means that they took your savings to pay the debtors. And friends of my parents and friends of friends were wiped out. And they were like, why didn't we know? I'm like, that was a question that sat with me for a while. Why didn't we know? And I saw that everybody had lost total faith in the system. So Occupy Wall Street happened at the same period. And it was people angry. It's like, we thought money in the bank was safe. We thought our house was safe. We thought the system was there for us. And suddenly they all wake up and realize the system was not there for them. It was actually for other people. You know, people talk about bankers never went to jail. No, there was that sense that it was never concluded. And it sat with me for a long time thinking, what can I do about this? Because I was writing super high-end kind of research for hedge funds and, you know, big asset management firms. And so it wasn't accessible to people. And then I wrote a couple of articles. One got leaked in Zero Hedge in its early days, and it became super viral. And I thought maybe there's something here that I could reach a broader audience, because then I can help these people. And that's when we came up with the idea of Real Vision, which was the idea of interviewing the people at the very heart of the system and kind of sharing the details, because these people weren't hiding it. They wanted to help people as well. Everyone had that sense that we could help people. So I'm still on that journey. And that journey kind of has taken a multitude of paths, starting businesses, but also just trying to educate people on why they feel the way they do. You know, why politics is so polarized. Never used to be this bad. You know, what's really going on and who really to blame and what to do about it.
If I stop the average person on the street that knows you and watches Real Vision, and I ask them, what has Raoul and his channel and his information done for you? What do you think they would say, the average person?
They just say thank you. Because we've helped demystify it, the world of finance. And you see, we all have the root of unhappiness and happiness often comes from, does your vision of your future self match where you are today? Can you see that path? Whether that's finances, whether it's health, they're all very similar journeys. And when people can't see the vision of their future self and they can't see how to get there, they get upset. And what we've tried to do is unfuck people's future, which is an expression we use, which is a mimetic or a meme or just a short phraseology to help people understand. We understand that you feel like you can't get to where you want to get to, but there are options to do it. And I think people are immensely grateful for that in general.
If you're on a mission to help people unfuck their future, can you explain to me specifically the things that stand the chance of fucking their future from a macro perspective? And when I say macro, we have to pause and just define what I mean by the word macro. When I think of the word macro, I mean big picture perspective. So from a big picture perspective, what are the things that stand a chance of fucking my future?
Okay. So, and we can dig into why these things have occurred, but generally speaking, wages in real terms, adjusted for inflation, haven't gone up for decades. So nobody's getting richer. If you're an American, you have this powerful meme, which is the American dream. But that is not a reality for most people. The reality is you grind it out. Your savings are not worth what you thought they'd be. This whole promise of your pension and swanning around on a cruise ship around the Caribbean when you're older, living in a nice house, none of that is true. And it's because wages haven't gone up. So let's cut to somebody who's in their 30s now, because this is the really important cohort, I think, for this. They can't afford to buy a house. If I go back to when I was 30, I bought a house in London, and it was a nice place in a good area, and it was 3.5 times salary. Yes, I was in finance. I was earning a high salary. You can't buy anything for 3.5 times your salary. Now that same place, if I took the same kind of young investment banker salary, is probably 8 or 10 times. So it's tripled in how expensive it is to just buy your first house. So what is a house? Firstly, it's your quality of life, particularly, in England, the UK, in the US, we're home buyers. We think of our home as our castle. It's like the thing that solidifies our security. But, if you're in Germany, for example, they rent. But if we think about the mindset of owning a house, it's an asset that you can then pass on, or you can sell if you need to. And an asset is really a future savings plan. It's something you save now that in the future you can consume, you can buy stuff with. But what you're doing is, for the average 35-year-old, the average millennial is 36 years old. They can't afford to buy the house. So therefore, their future self is poorer. If they think of how much of the stock market they can buy less with their money. They have less savings. They've got debts from university. So they don't have the ability to get out of this trap. And then what we are finding is, because of this, they're having to live with other people into their 30s. They don't have kids, and they don't get married. And these numbers have collapsed since 1983. You've seen these numbers come down from people living on their own. So you could get your job, get yourself an apartment, has gone from 80% to 62%. You're seeing the marriage rate halve. You're seeing the home ownership rate go from 50% to 30%. These are all expressions of the same problems, which is people know their future is fucked, and they can feel it. They have a sense of desperation. You see then the same cohort of kids in their 30s doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. That's not because they want to. Nobody wants to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week. It's because they have to. And their parents, the baby boomers, who are in their 70s and retiring, never had that. They were the richest generation the world had ever seen. So this is the first generation that won't be as rich as their parents. And that's a weird thing, because we're all used to human progress, the American dream. If the American dream is, well, you'll never be as wealthy as your